Well, you may be an American soon. Doesn't the 47th president want to make Canada part of America?
I saw that. And then the most concerning part was thinking, I bet there's a ton of Canadians who'd be pumped about that. Like, I like to think that my cultural identity in Canada would be like, no way, but I think he's got a lot of fans there too.
Interesting.
Yeah. I heard a theory that a weasel got into the CERN, like the Hadron Collider, like the particle accelerator in wherever it is. Is it in Geneva? Anyway, a weasel got in 2016 and accidentally like jolted us to a different timeline. And so we're in like this hell timeline because this is a real theory. Because a weasel got into this quantum machine. And it does feel, I remember, the first time he got elected thinking, things are not going to be the same.
I have a deep desire for like answers. So if the weasel's the answer,
wouldn't it be nice if there's one clear answer? Like, that weasel.
Just give me a scapegoat.
Yeah, right.
Scape weasel. Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Well, I do have a question, and then I have a follow up. But
okay.
When you see that he only recognizes two genders, male and female, and then you film the nature of things, the Fluid documentary.
Yeah.
Well, what was your first reaction when he said that, and then what did you learn from making that documentary that you would want people to know?
That's a good question. I mean, when I heard him say that, I wasn't surprised because he has such a disregard for facts and leading scientists and experts, and it's the same thing that people, you can just say, oh, immigrants are taking your jobs, and it's provably untrue. Like, but you can say anything you want. So I wasn't shocked, but I was, scared and mainly just worried for kids and young kids. And it's also such a tiny percentage of the population. Like, it's just wild. But I hope that documentary gets seen. It was in Canada, and it's like
I couldn't find it here. I was trying so hard to watch it. And I was like, damn, I got to go to Canada to watch this, don't I?
I know. It's like a Canadian institution, like this series. And so, I hosted one about gender fluidity. And, it was reassuring. It was like there's such a rich history across all human civilization of, like, gender variance and different cultures recognizing multiple genders. And like, the World Health Organization says gender is separate to biological sex and it's a social construct. And so it was reassuring to talk to experts. And then even from a biology point of view, there's so much variance, and there's really a clear, like, binary duality is really the exception, not the rule in nature. There's so much fluidity and variance. And so that was, I don't know how to, it's like, I'm always trying to, I hope the documentary was, like, approachable and it's always just trying to, like, be palatable and approachable enough to slip these things in and be like, guys, no one's mad at you and this is not going to affect your life at all. And but then sometimes I feel like punching the walls. Yeah.
Yeah, like in your, I think it was the stand-up special, you compared it to Wi-Fi. You're like, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not real.
Yeah, completely,
it's a great point.
Yeah, it seems to trigger a real panic in people, I guess, because it...
But why? Like, why does that affect...
I think it makes you realize, like, how gendered our society is and how much is built on... these sort of outdated, and that's relatively recent history. That's sort of, because, anyway, whatever. I'm always worried. I never went to high school. Like, I dropped out of school. I'm always worried I'm going to put my foot in my mouth because I only know my own experience and then, like, the research I've done, and I've been lucky to do things like that. But I do feel like anytime you're trying to be like a spokesperson, you're just bound to fail a little bit. So I try to just, like, be a flawed person, but, like, an example of someone who hopefully it's, like, not really a huge part of who I am. Like, I know I'm so much happier since I started identifying as non-binary, and so I'm like, that's all I know. Yeah.
That's your truth.
That's my truth, man. Let me live my truth. No, but seriously, dude.
By the way, it is really sad. I think a lot of it comes down to people just not supporting what they cannot explain or understand and what they do not know.
And what they can't, it represents a freedom that they don't have access to or something like that. And like, yeah, it's threatening to imagine that there can be that much creativity in who you are and how you express yourself and how you...
People like explanations for things. People like reasons. People like boxes. People like definitions. People... Like even music, like the idea that like we need to take art and like put it into different genres is ridiculous.
I know.
But it's like that in so many different aspects of society.
It really is. Yeah, it was like when David Lynch died, I loved that quote of his. It's like, I don't know why people expect art to make sense. Like life doesn't make sense. And I like that a lot. Yeah.
And people need to understand that. Like life doesn't make sense. And by the way, things in this situation, it does make sense because it is scientifically backed up and it is fact-based.
Yeah.
But again,
it's just different to the culture that you grew up in, which is an evolving culture and which is a recent phenomenon, really, because throughout history it's been very different in different parts of the world and, even here.
Yeah, and dude, America sucks. You're so blessed. Because even from the art standpoint, like... Canada and the UK have afforded you really incredible opportunities.
Yeah.
Like things exist there that just don't exist here. Like, if you want to get on a talk show, you have to be a superstar individual. Where I've watched, and the tax breaks and like the way all the networks like want to embrace you and hear your pitches and put it, like, it's totally different, no?
Yeah, there's pros and cons. There's not the infrastructure and money there,
and it's small.
So it's so much smaller.
Yeah.
But like, there are, they definitely nurture talent in a different way, and there's, when I first moved to England, I got a job as like an in-house writer at BBC Radio, like writing for news comedy shows, and that was like to be in BBC Radio and in the building was such a, that was so. Great.
But also like what an amazing thing that like that's a government institution funded by the government that even exists.
I know. Yeah.
Doesn't exist here.
I'm still like starry-eyed though about living in LA, like being, for me, like getting to do shows where like my heroes just stop by and do a random set and the people I've met here are so... everyone was like, it's so shallow and vapid, and I really haven't found that. And I've found that people are really up for making stuff, and they want to like collaborate, and so that's been exciting.
Yeah, but you're cool too. That's why they want to collaborate.
Thanks.
Like you're cool.
Thanks.
You have a couple like great things under your belt, a couple hits.
Right. So start like I didn't have to do the open mic circuit, for instance. That,
totally.
Yeah, that might be rough.
It's totally different.
Yeah.